GSMRA has bought themselves two StarkVargs. This is the 80 horsepower alpha models, EX, so they're the Enduro type. Very, very happy with them. Insanely powerful. So the plan for these guys is to set them up for track making. So we'll be doing some various modifications to them, including chainsaw holders up front. Might even try and make it pull some sort of trailer setup where we can cut new track in with it. Headlights are awesome, 4,400 lumens. Incredible bikes. We're very, very impressed thus far. Oh yes, this suspension is nice. That's dancing over that stuff. These things are absolute weapons. Now, I've noticed that it's in neutral now because I just turned it on. That flashing light's what you need. If that's a solid green light, bloody hell, be careful. You touch that throttle and that sends these things flying, with you on it or not. So don't take that for granted. Beautiful thing is, no warming it up, no getting it ready, no run-in period. Just hop on the things and go. We literally just press our little BAM button here, puts it in the first mode, twist our throttle, and you're away. A little bit, whatever you give it, is what it goes. Heaps of traction, no matter the revs. Back brake is on the handlebars, which is pretty cool. Very impressive traction wise. You don't need revs, there's no clutch to load it up. You don't have to worry about your feet. I think I'm in 20 horsepower here. So the acceleration isn't blowing your socks off. It's plenty quick enough. Back brake's great, I like it on the handlebars. Let's just go up a mode, mode 2. You can change them on the fly. You don't need to be, stop, start, close the throttle or anything fancy like on BMWs. Just click it and go. Changes it instantly. That's plenty of mumbo right there. That's 30 horsepower. Let's try something really nasty for a bit. Again, I'm not trying hard here. Let's just go. I'm not pretending to be Graham Jarvis. I'm just sitting on the bike, twisting the throttle up some steep crap. Very, very impressive. I'll literally just stop here and try to start from here. Whew. Oh, effortless. Effortless. Bloody hell. Talk about making riding easy. So much torque. No clutch. Just walk it up. It's 36 fucking degrees today. And I'm climbing this crap on the bike. That's doing it easy. Unbelievable. And look at that, it conquered the hill without breaking a sweat. I'll be the first to admit, it's dry. There's plenty of traction out here today. But you've got to admit, it didn't work hard on that. Okay. Snotty rocky bits. Again, I don't have to worry about the back brake. I can put both feet down. My back brake's on my handle grips here, so I'm controlling it up here. Just like your mountain bike. Once you're used to it, it's a brilliant concept. Keeps your feet free. Just concentrate on your riding. I could turn up the regenerative braking more. Helps you charge the battery. And you back off that throttle. So see how it's in the green here? That's it charging up again. For argument's sake, turn it up to the next notch. Hearing sensation, because you're not hearing motor noise anymore, you're hearing the tyres. You can really hear when it's gripping and when it's not. When you're getting wheel spin, I'm loving this. This deserves a real yeah, baby. People that love to sit down, this is your bike. It's the ultimate lazy rider's bike. You know, we'll probably adjust these controls a touch, just to bring them into the bar a little bit more, better leverage. Currently that's biting there, but we want it to come a little bit closer to the bars. So you've got this adjustment here. Allows you to tweak it, get that closer here. Your better grip is here than it is out there. So just a good idea to bring them in a couple of notches. That way you can really get some extra leverage on them. Really feel it in the slides. Drifts like a madman. Holy Toledo. That is one wicked bike there, people. Now I am running the tubeless in here, so I'm guessing something like 8 psi in there. You can really feel it squirming in those corners. Good hookup. These Shinko Cheetahs 525s, amazing tyres. They're just like a soft gummy, so they really grip on the rocks and things are terrific. Fan's really kicking in for a while there. As I said, we're pushing 34 to 36 degrees here, so it's no surprise the bike is warm. Wow. Brakes, great. Suspension, great. Motor, insane. Geometry, fantastic. It's not as flickable. We're not using a clutch, so you can't pop it. You really have to rely on that suspension bounce, and there's very little throttle there, especially when I'm in 20 horsepower mode here. Because honestly, I just ride in that most of the time. Unless you feel like you're hitting the race pace. And that's as simple as just changing the mode up one. And this will see you further. Plenty enough oomph. This track's getting a bit overgrown. And that's exactly the sort of thing that this bike is for. We can come here, we can stop, kick crap out of the road. I'm not starting and stopping the bike, I'm just riding along. I don't have to kick it. Just move stuff out of the way. Get some pink out, ribbon it up, clear the trail. This is really what I wanted. The bike just ticks along slow and easy. let's face it, both my handlebars are up here, so that is ideal for cleaning. I was actually a bit nervous about that originally, figuring the back brake might be used to most people, but the sad thing is they don't give you a dual option. You can't have a rear brake on the foot and a rear brake on the handlebar. You can only have one or the other. So in that sense, it's a shame. I'm loving this. This is great. Clean crap. No start stop and no noise. You're not going to be announcing anyone's attention. You could even say it's quieter than a mountain bike because there's no huffing and puffing going on as well. It's just you and the environment. The smells are fantastic out here. I want to rig up a saw on here, whip it out here, whoosh. Take care of all your sticks. Because I'm holding on my back brake here, still got a hand free to saw. These old four-wheel drive tracks get to the point where they're so overgrown they just become single tracks, which are ideal for us. I suppose I could have got that one. No point making it too easy for people. You don't want a freeway. I should have had the regen on. I could have been charging the battery on the whole way down here. With luck I am charging it a little bit. Oh. See that? I was literally parked so long, this guy's got into neutral, and you can tell it's in neutral because of the flashing green light. If you put it back in its mode, now it's in gear as it were, now you can go. Sometimes that can be a bugger. Just when you least expect it, it does that on you. But it is a safety feature. We had it only today. We took the bike into the workshop just to book in the suspension. The mechanic walks up to the bike and grabs it by the throttle and gives it a twist and whoosh, off she goes, sends it. Whiskey throttle style. Straight into the workshop. Bloody hell. Scared the bejesus out of him because the bike's just sitting there silently. No one thought it was in gear. No one thought anything about it. But the key point is, if you twist the throttle hard on these things, they'll go. You've got to treat them with some respect. And I think for anyone that's not used to a bike, or even if you are used to it, you know, it's quite a dangerous thing to do. I'm not quite sure there's an answer to that safety feature, but I think it's something we definitely need to consider. And that's where that timeout comes in. As it's standardly set to 15 seconds, if you park your bike 15 seconds later, it goes into neutral basically. That's probably not a bad thing, unless you're sitting at the traffic lights. Then you go, twist the throttle to go, and the bike's magically in standby mode. Like this. See how he sort of bounced it to get it up for that tree? As opposed to just ploughing straight into it. Oh, these things kick. Instant throttle at any RPM. Really hear that tyre scabbling for traction. I'm asked about these things. How far can you get? Riding stuff like this, I reckon a fair way. What the back tyre's doing with the back brake, so you can modulate how much you want it to do if you just want it to skid straight in. If anything, you get a bit of vibration to the right hand. Giving me pins and needles there. You don't have a heart in your chest if you don't ride one of these and come away loving it. No gears to worry about. You're using your brakes to really modulate where the bike goes too. It's very good. But the back brake serves as a rudder. So you can use that to good effect too. You've got more control than that foot brake. So that puts you in neutral. Let's get this thing out. And we push again, and it locks it in place. Neutral, all as well. Power modes, we've got standard. You can pay for a more advanced tweaking, but as the bike comes, this is how you go. So number 1 map, I'm only in 10 horsepower. 2 map, I'm in 25. 3 map, 26. 4 map, we're in 40. Or regen. Something like that. Save that. And while we're here, why not? Let's just see what 60 horsepower feels like. I can understand why people think you can have too much regen. But for me, if you're going quicker, having more regen like that's great. Oh yes, this suspension is nice. That's dancing over that stuff. I can see why people rave about it. There's a fair bit of chop. This is really taking it up well. Oh yeah, go the regen. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm having fun on this thing. Woo! Far out! Jesus, hey! That's 60 horsepower, people. Jesus. That is something. I've got to go back and have a look at that. That was not getting traction. I'm trying to shift gears, there's no gears to shift. Yep. She's just stepping out there sideways. Look at that. It's roosting the whole way. Nice. Doesn't let up. Holy. Unbelievable. Yep. You can see why they got a G-force calculator on the Speedo now. Bloody hell. I think I'll tone it down a few there. It comes out in a 60 and an 80 horsepower model. This is the 80. Now the reality of it is 60 horsepower is insanely fast. So why you need 80 is anyone's guess. It's purely a dick swinging exercise. So unless you really want to throw that extra $1,000 at it, you'll probably just get the 60 and be done with it.
fast flowing single tracks are just fantastic. We need more of this good gear. These bikes are lovely. I'm really impressed with the bikes. They've got really solid componentry, quality switch gear. I love the aluminium block for the indicators and the starting everything. All the nuts and bolts, you can actually get a titanium kit too, which they reckon you save 2 pounds of the bike weight. The plastics, everything on the bike exudes quality in terms of the rims, the hubs. It's just a really well made bike and thought out in terms of design. The whole plastics come off in one piece, so the shrouds, the seat and the rear all come off in one piece, so you can access underneath. One bolt takes the headlight off, for example. So it's design wise, it's really nicely done. Headlight's fantastic, it's LED, 4,000 plus lumens, so it lights up the night really well. The switch gear on here, you get little indicator switches and your headlight switch all tied into that one little unit, so everything's easy to operate. Suspension, KYB front and back. It's probably one of the best stock suspension bikes I've ever ridden. It just out of the box, fantastic. You know, one day of bedding in and they're supple. Likewise the brakes, heaps of feel, heaps of grip, and initially they were a little bit mushy, but after you give it a few good goes, they start to bed in the pads well. Your rear brake is up here on the handlebar versus down on the foot. Some people will take offence to that. There's an option when you buy the bike, you can buy it with one or the other. You can't have both, which is a shame. A dual setup would have been ideal. But the fact that they're both up on the bars means that your feet have no shifter and no brake, which means your feet are free to do anything, which is quite liberating from a riding point of view, because all of a sudden you can drag your toes, you can kick things out of the way on the trail. So that's a big design factor that I really rate on these bikes. Now the seat is actually very slim, quite rounded, so from a putting your ass on it point of view, it's not the most comfortable seat in the world. I probably would have preferred a seat concept style, you know, extra XL wide flange seat. The phone at the front, it's basically an Android phone they give you with it, which is quite fat. They call it an Arkenstone. Now their theory is that you can control everything about the bike on here. While it's good in concept, I find it a little bit clunky. I'm not a big fan. The bike basically stands in standby mode and this phone stays on all the time. It drives me nuts. I can't tell if the bike's off or if it's on. And half the time it won't even show the display properly. It's got a lot of electronic wizardry about it, and it'll monitor G-forces and speed and all sorts of rides. Everywhere you go it tracks it in GPS, which is good and bad. So in terms of riding instrumentation, it shows you your speed, it shows you what the bike's doing in terms of regen, but it doesn't show you simple things like your indicators on, your headlights on, if you're in high beam, if you're in low beam. So the typical things that you see on a dash on any bike is not on here. So that's a bit of a shame. They could have easily implemented that into the user interface. Yep, but that's a hole dug especially on the tree root. You can't get out of hole.
Put it in reverse, see if reverse gets out of it. No, genuinely. If it does, then this is the ultimate bike. You're neutral. Oh my god! Is that not awesome, guys?
Now put it in walk mode. In fact, I'll leave it in walk mode here. Just walking on out. Weight wise, the bike's 120 odd, 118 kilos, depending on what brochure you read. While it's pretty hefty to pick it up and physically manhandle the bike, and certainly trying to loft the front wheel around and pivot turn and the like is almost impossible without a clutch, you do feel that weight. But underway, the bike is quite nimble and fun, it's quite zippy. The fact that your feet are locked on there means it's quite stable.
This tight technical sort of riding where it's just slow and picking a line is absolutely these bikes' strong point. Because they're not making any noise, they're doing it so effortlessly, there's so much torque involved, they're just brilliant, make everything easy.
These things find traction so well.
Stark offer you these power tube options, which I'm not impressed about. After one ride, both bikes had flat tyres, so they had to be replaced for standard rubber ones. So I probably would not recommend using these power tubes.
Oh, easy.
Well guys, you probably figured out by now that I'm pretty enamored with these bikes. There's a few little niggling things here and there like you get with any bike, but to say that these guys have transformed what constitutes a dirt bike is an understatement. So seriously, it was literally a case of, am I going to get a 250, a 350, a 500, you know? It was all about the size of the bike, but nowadays the motor feels like just unnecessary complexity. I mean, you look at these things, they're so simple. You've got a big ass battery, tiny little motor and an inverter. Dust is no longer an issue. Wear and tear, I mean, seriously, all you're worried about is chain sprockets and suspension. It's fantastic. They're just so simple to ride, so fast, so simple. They're just a win-win in all cases, really. I mean, aside from the ticket value of actually purchasing one in the first instance, these things are just so good for what we're trying to achieve here. In terms of making track, I just ride up to a tree, I stop, whip out the saw, trim off the branches, pink up whatever you're trying to pink up in terms of trees, move on. You're not starting and stopping the bike, we're not kicking it, there's no heat involved. Unreal. The fact that they're silent, you're not pissing people off when you're riding past. Unreal. They're great on the road, they're brilliant in the dirt, the suspension's fantastic, they charge easily, 2 hours. Range wise, we're probably getting around 3 hours out of these things, roughly 100-ish Ks, doing the riding that we do. The regen function works fantastic, it's charging the batteries you're riding along, so it actually helps, especially when you've got some really big downhills. Mate, I'm really impressed. You know, I'd be giving this 9.5 out of 10 in terms of a bike. Really good. Looking forward to actually spending some time on these and, you know, doing what they're meant to do. So in terms of anybody else, if you're on the fence, definitely get your ass on these things and try them out. You've got to take them for a spin to actually understand what they're like. But yes, very impressed. Get amongst it, fellas.
Yeah, baby.